All right, guys. Hello, hello, hello. We are live. Thank you guys for coming in here again today. This is Mujeres con Tumbao, episode 2. Today we have with us Carmen San Diego and African, not Dominican. Um, and so today we have a couple of topics that we want to bring to you guys. And the first one that we had on our list, we wanted to talk about dating nightmares. So, lucky for my counterparts, they have not really had any dating nightmares, which is actually kind of funny. Uh, Sorry about that, guys. That was my other cell phone. But yeah, so they have not had any negative dating experiences. Oh no, dating nightmares. I cannot say the same for me. So last year or year before last, when I got back to the country, it was my first time ever dating in the country. I was used to dating Dominicans from outside of the country, like Dominicans that are in the U.S. And so it's two totally different situations. So one of the things that I knew, like offhand, was that uh, they weren't going to be able to afford to take me to a nice place or anything like that. And so one of the guys that I did end up dating and kind of try to see where things could go with, he he ended up being the nightmare. What ended up happening was, as time was going on, he was telling me that he wanted me to live with him at some point where he was living. He was living, you guys, and let me know if you guys know the difference between the wooden homes here and the houses that aren't wooden. Are you guys familiar with that?
No.
African, not Dominican, are you familiar with that?
So you said a wooden home versus not wooden?
Yeah, like a wooden home versus like the concrete apartment.
Concrete? Oh yeah, my only experience is with concrete houses.
Oh boy, you guys, I had never in my life seen anything like this. So when I got to the house, I already noticed that like the door was like this much off of the ground. So like my first thought is like, oh my God, anything can be crawling in here at
Mm-hmm.
any given time. Like, oh my God. Um, I thought to myself, how the hell am I going to spend the night somewhere like this? Because the whole time I'd be thinking like rats, roaches, anything could be, coming in there at any point in time. And so that was my first thought. Then I saw his bedroom. His bedroom didn't have a door on it. You guys know how I am. You guys know that when I'm in the US, I carry a 9 millimeter. So imagine me sleeping somewhere that not only doesn't have a door on the in the bedroom, but also I don't have my protection with me. I was like, you can just come and stay at my place because this is not going to work for me. I mean, it was absolutely a different world. And then the ground, like the floor, was ground for the most part. It wasn't like a floor, it was like dirt. So, so you guys are saying that you've never been to one of these kinds of houses before.
I've been to
No.
something I've been to something similar to that, Nikki, in San Pedro with a tin roof, and it looked like a garage. Is that what you mean? It was similar to like a garage and it had a tin roof.
Ding, ding, ding. That's that's the one.
Okay.
Yep. What were you gonna say, African, not Dominican?
I was gonna say I don't think I've been in a house like that. Maybe Edwin come or my husband comes for more money than I thought. Because all of his family members had like real houses made out of concrete with floors and furniture and doors and all the things. So hmm.
And all the things. Yes. So with all that being said, I told myself right then and there, I was like, I would really have to love this guy. Like I would have to be in for real love. Like y'all know how like when we were younger and like more naive and real love was kind of what drove different situations. Um, yeah, I was like, I'll have to go back to like my 17-year-old type love, like puppy love. Like I'll have to be really in love with this guy to kind of deal with this kind of a thing, because why else would I do that? No, no, not for me. So anyway, as time went on, I started to notice that he was very aggressive with me, and I was like, nah, I'm not feeling that. Like again, we talk about the power struggle, right? These dynamics. And so for me to know that like you're not paying for any of my bills or like taking care of me in that way, you take some of that tone out of your voice, bro. Like who are you talking to? Which broke ass. No, that's terrible. But it's like, come on, man. No. You need to be humble, sir. You need to be
It's the
humble.
nerve.
It's the audacity. The audacity, right? So again, time goes on and time goes on, and he's telling me like, I don't like you hanging out with this friend, that friend. He was trying to start to do the isolation thing, and y'all know, when you come here, you're already isolated as it is because you're not from this country. You're from another country, so you're already isolated. So imagine you're trying to start friendships so that you can feel more comfortable and feel like you're quote unquote at home. And then that happens. And it's like, dang, you just want me to have just you? That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. So that was like the first kind of thing that started happening that made me like, ooh, I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna work. And then too, you guys, he worked at this place that where he like scaled fish.
Oh no.
So every night when he would come home from work, he would literally have to take off that entire, is the word garb, or is that only used for like the like the Muslim garb? I don't know. Is garb the right word?
Garb is used for anything that's like not for anything, but for most things that are considered to be like um, I hate to use the word costume, or it's not a costume, but just a dress, a certain type of dress for a particular function or particular ceremony or something like that.
This is why African, not Dominican, said that you have such a beautiful vocabulary. You're very articulate.
Thanks. I'm not exactly accurate, but that's somewhere in the bullseye, somewhere around the center.
Close enough. I know what you're saying. So every night he would come home, he would take that off and have to put it in the bathroom downstairs. But it was still kind of like in his skin. So like before we could even connect, I'm like, just in my mind, I'm thinking like, don't even touch me until you've gone and taken your shower. But it really kind of took over his body makeup. Like it was really unattractive. So as time went on, and y'all know how this goes, like when you are starting to like not want to be with somebody and you're not feeling them, every single little thing pisses you off. and it's blown up. So as things continued to happen, I would get more angry about the smell. I would get more angry about like just lots of different things. And then he didn't have the best breath either. Like I don't think he knew about flossing and brushing his tongue and these kinds of things. I think for him, he was just, I brush my teeth quickly and then that's it. But like I'm really big on that. Like I'm very, very big on teeth and brushing and stuff like that. Like my husband, oh my God, his breath is so good all the time. Like even in the morning, it's not bad breath. Like he really takes care of that. I love that about him. Very attractive. Anyways, so time goes on. And when I say time, it was only like 3 months. Maybe 2.5, almost 3 months. So one day I'm out with my now husband, but at the time was my bestie. And I'm telling him, like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. Like, this guy is crazy. He's possessive. He's controlling. Like, he gets very angry. When he gets angry, it scares me. And he's like, of course, he's like, yeah, F that dude, man. Yeah, he's not that. You shouldn't be with this guy. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. So I call him up and I tell him that day, like, yeah, it's a done deal. And he's just like, what? I'm on my way to your house. I said, no, don't come to my house. I've already told the guards at the front that you can't come here anymore. So don't do that. Luckily, he didn't have anything there, like clothes or anything that he had to come and pick up. The toothbrush that was there, I had purchased that. So he was good.
Where did you say you met this guy at?
So I met him on Tinder. I didn't ever say where I met him. I met him on Tinder. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd do that down there.
You say what?
I don't know if I would do that down there.
There is a Tinder here in the DR?
There is. It's the same Tinder, but I don't think I would do the online dating in DR.
And why would you not do the online dating in DR? I'm interested to hear this.
I feel like I need to see you in person from day one. Like, because I feel like they're already always have a plan and a scheme and a game. So I feel like when you're texting back and forth, you have more time to think of lies and think of stories and plan your next response. But I feel like if I meet you in person, I can ask you questions and you have to respond right off the bat. Like you ain't got time to think of your lie and your story. So I need to meet a guy face to face. So I can look into your eyes to see where your head is at. Cause they always on some BS.
I'm the same way. I agree with Key. I'm in love with the initial interactions, meeting someone and how that came to be in person and, what location and how the conversation advanced and how the connection came to be in person and not through technology.
You know what? Okay, so for me, the reason why I see both of what you guys are saying, like I see both of your points. For me, the reason why I did it the way that I did it was because I felt like my car isn't here, my car's in the US, right? And so I was trying to figure out how can I meet these guys and how can I kind of like learn a little bit about them beforehand, not knowing that at that point in my life that what guys really do most of the time on these dating websites is they read the woman's profile and it's like their guidebook. Oh, she wants a Christian. Oh, she wants a guy that doesn't cuss. Oh, you know what I'm saying? So they show up as everything that you put on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I guess for me, that whole online dating thing is, I compare it to shopping in a catalog. Like when I was growing up, we had the catalogs for JCPenney's and for Macy's, and I would look through and shop and pick out items that we were interested in purchasing. And for me, that whole dating process online it's very similar. You see the image of the individual, and then you look at them, and you see if physically that they match up to your expectations or the things that you have on your checklist, and then you reach out to order the person to communicate with you, and then it goes from there. And it seems a bit unnatural to me, or it just seems too commercial like, and I don't like that.
I could see that too. Well, again, at the time, I was just kind of like, fresh out of leaving that psychopath, my ex fiance. And so I just wanted to, get out and date and have some fun. I wasn't necessarily looking to get like serious with someone. And honestly, for me, it was kind of like an experiment, if I'm honest, to see like, what is it like to date in this country? Like, That's interesting because it's not the same, obviously, as dating in the US because they can't, your average Dominican can't date you the way that like you know, a person in, or even a Dominican in the US. It doesn't necessarily have to be, whatever. Um, but yeah, so, oh, look who's in the building. Hey, Faye. Faye couldn't join us, but she is in the comments. Hi, Faye. Thank you for joining. Thank you for coming. Um, but yeah, so it's like it ended up, like I said, it ended up being a disaster. So I ended that relationship and I was so nervous that he was going to just pop up at my place because he called me crying and screaming and yelling and was sending me like messages like, but I love you, I'm in love with you, and this and this and that. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, it was 3 months. Move on. Get
Was
a
he the
grip.
only one you met from Tinder?
No, so I met this other little fella,
No.
and he was so sweet.
You were down there being a passport girl.
I mean, call it what you want to. I was very much enjoying my single life, but
I love it.
I will tell you though, I wasn't sleeping with these guys. So although it was passport sis behavior a little bit, I was like, no, 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 no. And that was the best part about it too, because I'm like, I'm getting to know you, and I'm showing them and teaching them like, this is how I am. You're not going to tell me how to be. You know what I mean? You're not going to tell me that I have to sleep with you after being with you for a week. You can tell me that all you want to, but I'm not going to do that. Hey, mindful vibes. Yeah, little fella. I'm country. Come on. People always make fun of me for using the word fella. Guys, whoever's watching, we're also doing Q&A. Ask any questions, ask away, please. But yeah, so it just turned into, like I said, a nightmare. And I could not believe that he was crying and acting a goddamn fool. And the thing is, I didn't get Sanky Panky vibes from this guy. I didn't. I really did not get that. And oh, you guys, I forgot to put up our comments. Lord have mercy. I forgot that's my job. Let me do my job. Gosh. I forgot that's what I got to do now that I'm the I'm all of these things, right? But yeah, it I'm glad that he didn't come and try to unalive me. I was really afraid about that, if I'm honest with you. Side note, Mindful Vibes says, nah, there's a mentality that comes with the passport bro cis pattern that goes beyond just dating people in other countries.
Oh, I know. I was teasing her.
Huh?
I said I was just teasing.
What you mean?
Because I said you were down there being a passport girl. I was just teasing.
That's so funny. Okay, Mindful Vibes, elaborate, will you? And if any of you guys that are watching, if you want to hop in the conversation and come on screen, please, by all means, let me know and I will drop the link. I got to figure out how to get to the goddamn link here. I don't even remember how to do that here. Let's see here. No, that's not it. If one of you ladies can, on your cell phone, copy the link and paste it in the comment section so that if somebody does want to hop on, they can do that, if you don't mind. Because I forgot to do that. I normally have it like copied and pasted and put it there. But yeah, I was so happy when that situation was over with. And what's so funny about that specific night when I left that guy, I was with Melvin, again, my now husband, right? And I was like, let's go to the Tumbao, let's go drinking, let's go have a good time. He was like, hell yeah. Now that you left that weirdo, I wasn't feeling that guy, whatever. So we went and we listened to music and we danced and we rapped and we had a blast. We had a great time. But at that time, we were not liking each other in that way. So it's not like oh, thank you. I got the link. Let me try to, oops. So can I copy and paste it? Oh, wait. Carmen San Diego, can you try to put it in let me see if it'll let me do it this way. If you can try to put it in not in the private chat. Oh, okay. Hold on a second. Copy link. Okay, I think I got it. And comments. There we go. And let's see if this works. Yay! Teamwork. Thank you for that. Guys, if you want to hop in the conversation, by all means, you can click on the link there, copy and paste it. And I will see you at the bottom trying to get in here if you want to get in here. Okay, so enough about that, guys. The next topic was...
I have questions, though.
Okay. Of course you do.
I do have questions because I never got the experience of dating down there. So now you said you met another little fella from Tinder. Now, when it comes to sex, did they try immediately or were they like gentlemen in the beginning when they were, I don't know if you would say courting because I got no money, but they were getting to know you? How soon did sex come up?
Great question. So with the second guy that I dated after the crazy guy, oh, well, actually, let me get to the first guy. The first guy, yes, he tried sex like as soon as he asked me to be his girlfriend. He asked me to be his girlfriend in a week, I think it was. Typical. I mean, that's definitely, yeah, that's how they maneuver, without a doubt. Immediately. Like, oh, I like this. Yep, I like you. Yeah, let's do this. And you guys know about that. That's how it went down. And so, let me get my camera down a little bit because it looks like I'm naked. Let me take this off the screen. So, okay, there we go. And I'll put up the next comment when it comes. But yeah, so he tried, I want to say like the second week. So like day 8 or something like that. But I think he felt more like, well, you're my girlfriend, so let's do this. Now the other guy, he never even made it into my apartment. So I don't think he had the opportunity to try. I mean, but I don't remember him even really talking much about it either. Like he really was a sweetheart, you know. When we went out, he took me for sushi and everything like that. And I was really surprised because I was like, oh, okay, he can afford sushi? That sounds so ignorant. It does. But that's what I was thinking, like, oh, okay, well, this is great, nice. But the reason why that one didn't work out was because I believe he had a monoconcho. He didn't have a car. And so him maneuvering to try to get to me for us to go out on dates and stuff like that, it was the pits. And I was just like, if we're only going to see each other once a week, that's not going to work for me because I don't know who you're with and what you're doing the other 6 days out of the week, sir. Like, nah, you're not going to get me with the okie doke. I'm not doing that. And again, Melvin was my driver. So all the dates that I had gone on with this guy, my husband was the one that took me to these dates.
Did he?
No, he was like, oh, I like this guy. He's a nice guy. You know, you guys are cute together. It is so crazy. Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
Later, did Melvin share his thoughts on the people that you were dating or how he felt as he was watching you slide off into the distance with these guys for dinner or lunch? Did he share his feelings?
He had told me how he felt about them at that time. Because again, we were legitimately besties. And I feel like the only time that he ever hit on me was when we were freestyle rapping one time in his car, and I brought it to his attention today. I was like, wait a minute. This one time when we were freestyling, you said in your, and I quote, you said, vamos para la casa, no le diga a nadie, which means let's go to the house, don't tell anybody. And then he said, no le diga a los tigres para chivateo or something like that, meaning like don't tell the, the slick people because they're going to be nosy and try to tell our business. So I said to him, no, wait a minute. Now that I really listened to what you said, why would you rap that? We're going to go to the house and do what? We were besties back then.
Dominoes, duh.
I think that's an odd statement to make, considering the fact that Dominicans generally share their business, very private, intimate business, in groupthink with their groupthink. I'm just saying. I've had friends who've talked about, having conversations about having, intimate moments with their spouses, with their coworkers. And I commented at the time, like, who does that? And is there any consequence for doing so in the workplace? Because we'd be called in for sexual harassment. Like, is there such a thing here? Like, and apparently there is not, and they can drink on the job and do other things on the job and talk sexually, and there's no consequence. So.
That is accurate. I've worked for Dominicans, but actually in the U.S., and we kept that fridge stacked with drinks, and we drank presidente whenever. Like, I was like, this is the best job ever. Love this.
I said, no wonder it takes all day to get anything done around here. You guys are all in Margaritaville.
Absolutely. What's the song? Margaritaville.
Jimmy Buffett.
I love that song. Okay, I want to read this comment from Mindful Vibes. I need to know who Mindful Vibes is. Who are you? How do we know you? The question is, the comment is, the passport bro movement was born of men who are of the belief that women in other countries are better than women in their own country. Correct. They also say, of course, they tend to be drawn to countries where there are women of lower socioeconomic status who they can pay for their attention. Correct.
Well, I just want to know if they still hold that opinion after they're robbed and their things are taken away and all their assets are gone and the lady's on with the next guy. Are they still of that opinion? That's what I'd like to know.
Before I got married, I had a much closer relationship with some of the quote unquote passport bros. And I'll finish in just a second. Let me read this. Of course, they tend to be drawn to countries where there are, okay, I already read that. Sorry. Oh, and drugged. Yeah, that's true. What was I saying? ADD, sorry.
Passport bros?
Oh, yes. So thank you. Before I got married, I was privy to a lot more of the passport bro conversation. And that was because, some of these guys were like brothers to me, they were close with me, and I wanted to try to help them find the right type of woman, not just whatever, not just a woman who was going to take advantage of them. I wanted to try to help them find someone who they really connected with, and that it wasn't just about the passport bro BS. And they would ask me stuff. They would have me to befriend some of these girls and kind of try to get to know them on a different level, to be helpful. And, sometimes it worked out. Sometimes it would be where I'm like, oh yeah, no, she's definitely using me, bro. And then other times it'd be like, no, I think she really is interested. You guys, my electricity just went out. But the good thing is I am plugged in to...
You're a survivor.
I'm plugged into my mini inversor. I knew this was going to happen. And now I'm wondering, I got to find my little fan because I'm going to be melting here in a bit. Um, so, yeah, next topic. But African, not Dominican, did you have more questions on that?
I just wanted to say that I don't think they learn their lessons after they get drugged,
Beaten
used,
around.
abused. Like, I still think their like fetish for Dominican women is so strong that they'll just go and look for another one and hope that she's better.
And give me more. Give me more of that.
Exactly. Exactly. Cause me, I know myself, I'm like, I'm done after this one. I don't want nothing else to do with another Dominican. I can live without them for the rest of my life just fine. But I feel like some people get like they can't let that fantasy go. And so even if they're shown otherwise, they're still going to try to find that perfect Dominican submissive woman that everyone's been telling about. Oh, she's here somewhere. And so they
Gosh.
got to fall on their faces a few times before they get it.
Yeah. I think their pride and their ego will not allow
Mm-hmm.
them to admit that they've been duped 1 or 20 times. They're going to beat their philosophy to the moon, and they're going to ride on that philosophy until they have nothing left. So
I
I don't
100%
I
agree.
don't see them admitting that I made a mistake, and I generalize women from the States, and I no longer feel that way. I have stepped away from that mindset, and these are the reasons why. I don't think anyone will ever come forward and admit that they were wrong, and show all the evidence and all the reasons why.
You know, I think that maybe someone would, but the guy that would do it, he would do it in a way that we wouldn't know who he is, right? Like he would do like a, you know what I mean? Like he put on a mask or
Incognito.
something,
You
like
do it incognito.
incognito for sure, which is
Yeah.
good in general because he does need to get that information out. Um, the information needs to be out there. It's so funny because when I first met you guys, we talked about our experiences with Dominican men. And, I told you guys, man, I've been at this for 18 years. And it's so when I really stop and think about it, it's insane. It really is. Like I was 26 years old when I met my first Dominican that I like dated. He was my boyfriend. He was an absolute psychopath. I mean, so back then I knew nothing about the word toxic or what any of that stuff was. Oh my God. The crap that I went through with him, and it was short lived, thank God. Um, oof. And I've seen his page lately, and I've like seen what he's got going on. He looks like he's on cocaine. He looks absolutely insane. And I'm like, oh my God, poor me. I didn't know any better back then. Oh, Heavenly's in the building. Hey, Heavenly, hey, girl. She says, hey, Nikki, ask any of the women, have they been mistreated by Dominican women? Do, I don't know, due to us being with Dominican men. Ooh, that's a good one. So I'm going to repeat the question. Hey, Nikki, ask any of the women, have they been mistreated by Dominican women due to us being with Dominican men? Who wants to go first?
I could go first and answer that question. I personally have not. Usually, individuals think and presume that I am Dominican when they meet me, and I usually don't get treated any particular way because of it. I am presumed to be, and often, and that's from the female and the male perspective. Generally, people think I'm Dominican, and so I'm able to move freely and without any issues here because of that, I believe.
Absolutely. What
Uh,
about you, Keith? Sorry, African, not Dominican person. Just too far.
no. But that doesn't mean that they didn't feel a certain type of way or said things behind my back. But most people I've come in contact with were my husband's family members, so they're gonna play the role like they need to. So I didn't really have any issues with any of them. I would say like out in public, I would say I have the same experience as Carmen Sandiego. Like most people assumed I was Dominican, and even his family members, when I met them for the first time and they realized I didn't speak Spanish like they did, they're like, "Oh, we thought you were Dominican." So most strangers probably just assumed I was Dominican, but the people that knew and knew him personally were the only ones that knew I was American, and so they probably just acted accordingly. They're trained to act a certain way when you hit the lottery.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this: when I first met both of you guys, I thought both of you guys were Latina. Not only because of your names, but because of your physical presence. So I can totally see that. I know that you've had a situation, African, not Dominican, where you were at the airport and they thought that you were the Dominican and that your husband was the American because of how white he is. Which is
that
so
has happened
funny.
to us a few times. We were in Punta Cana at what is it, Coco Bongo or whatever it's called. We were there, and one of the waiters, they start speaking to Edwin or my husband in English, and then start speaking to me in Spanish. I'm like, "No, you got it backwards." I'm the foreigner here. It happened to us. We were at a resort last year or a couple years ago for his birthday. They assumed that he was the American and I was a Dominican because he is very white skinned. He has blonde hair. He has green eyes. So most people his own people don't even recognize him, which is crazy to me.
Yes. Yep. I know that, like, in the US, if I had ever stumbled upon him, I would automatically think like, oh, he's mixed, like American. I would not have jumped to Dominican, not at all. And I certainly would have seen you as the Dominican as well. Like, yeah. So, okay, Heavenly, your answer was probably not what you were expecting just because of the situation. You guys, there is a god dang mosquito in here, and I'm gonna have to kill him because he's gonna eat my little chocolate tail up, and I am not gonna deal with this. I'm not gonna do it. I gotta find my spray and spray his little tail. Um, God dang it, I am so sick of these mosquitoes. But anyway, okay. Next on the roster, I think it was we were going to talk about was it the education system, like the level of education here?
You were going to speak about the red flags in relationships and dating.
Yes, you're right. Thank you for that.
You're
This is
welcome.
why I have you guys. This is why I have you guys here, because keep it on track. Mindful Vibe says, better lather up some coconut oil and pure vanilla. They hate that. Oh, shut up. I have coconut oil here. Mindful Vibes, who are you? Do you know me in real life? Let me know. Please, I'm serious, because what the heck? All right. Heavenly says, well, damn, you ladies are lucky. I look a little Spanish myself, but during my time in DR, the women showed a lot of jealousy. It was so bad, I didn't allow Dominican women to serve my husband and I.
Wow.
Well, damn. And Heavenly, I will say, looking at your photo, from day one, I thought you were Latina. From day one, I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought you were at least Puerto Rican. I'm just saying. You guys see her photo, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She could
I would
definitely
have thought,
pass for a Dominican.
She
yes,
could. Yeah, she could.
yes. I would have thought she was at least, like I said, Puerto Rican. You guys hold on 1 second, because I'm gonna get my spray. I've had enough of this shit.
Okay.
I'm
And
gonna
while you do that, I'm going to speak to Miss Heavenly really quickly regarding her jealousy
Yeah,
statement there.
that was great.
Although I didn't have any experience regarding my relationships with Dominican ladies being jealous, I do notice that Dominican women do pay attention to what you're wearing and the things that you may have on when you go into certain establishments, and seem to be a bit they can be a bit taken back by jewelry pieces or anything that they may find attractive, and may seem a little bit jealous or envious for certain things that you're wearing. I did notice that.
I don't know. Maybe they weren't jealous because my husband funny looking, so they're like, we don't want him either. You can have him. And I think I hear a lot of Dominican women say they like the morenos, like they like their darker skinned Dominicans, especially the light skinned girls. They like them brown and dark. And so I don't think they are checking for my white skinned Dominican, really, to be honest, because he says the same thing. Like I feel he's a bit insecure about his white skin. And he always wished he was a tad bit darker. Like all of his friends are like darker skinned Dominicans. And to be quite honest, in his family, I don't know how he came out so light because most of his family members are brown at the lightest. So he's just an oddball. So he has this kind of inferiority complex about his white skin, which is crazy because they always talk about Dominicans are colorist and they want to better
Mejor la
their race,
raza.
etc.
Mejor la raza, se dice, ¿verdad?
Exactly. But he being light skinned, I don't think that he thinks the same way. He's like, yeah, I am light skinned. I didn't get anything good out of it. So I'm still poor. I'm still struggling. Like my white skin didn't help me. So I don't think he idolizes it the way maybe a darker skinned person would.
Wow, that's so interesting. His take. And I get it too. It's like, well shit, if I'm not getting the benefit of it, like yeah, I'm not gonna participate. Not the hiccups. I'm not gonna participate in that. Heavenly says, Nikki, there's no Spanish in my blood. Well, it's so funny. Like I said, genes are a trip. Genes are a trip. But this whole time, Heavenly, like I said, I'm not gonna lie to you. I always thought that you were at least, Puerto Rican or something. Um, and hey, at the end of the day, I think we all know too that the same way that in the Dominican community, we all come in different shapes and sizes. Like I think in all of our families, we have people that are light skinned, dark skinned, brown skin, all of that. All of us being. I consider myself, I guess, a Black American. So yeah, I think it's very similar. And that's the thing, and I know that that's why when people do that whole joke about I know black, I get it, but at the same time, I saw a video yesterday that really kind of brought it home for me. And this guy was an American guy, and he said that when people are mentioning black, they're talking about the what was it, the race and not the ethnicity. And I think that's what people who are Latino and Latina, that's what they're not understanding sometimes, I think, when people say black. When they say, oh, yeah, in America, you're black. Meaning that and we always bring up, pulled over by the police, how they're going to view you, in that way. So, but I'm not
Yeah,
even
we're
going to go there.
obsessed with the one drop rule in the United States, whereas in Dominican Republic, I think they differentiate between someone that's black versus someone that's mixed race. And in the United States, we don't. Like Obama was our first black president, even though he's half white. So we have this one drop rule that we're obsessed with, and we want the whole world to be obsessed with it too. Even though most of the world don't think that way. Most places have different names for a full black person versus a mulatto or a mixed person.
That's an interesting take. And I don't think I've ever thought about it that way, but I think you're right. Because, like, do you guys remember what was the girl, the one that came out with the song about "Make Me Sweat, Make Me Holla, Make me
Oh yeah,
wanna"?
Mm-hmm.
the South
She,
African girl. What's her name?
yes, there was so much controversy around her saying that she wasn't black.
She's colored.
And that was even more of a thing. And what they didn't, I feel like what Black Americans didn't understand about that is that in their country, that's how they categorize people. It's not colored how we say colored here. It's a different type of color. It's the same word, but it means something totally different there. And I think for them there, it's more like when you're colored, it's more like you're a mixed person. Am I right? It's something
Yeah,
kind of like that.
exactly. But we want to push our beliefs on everyone else. Everyone else has to identify the way we say that they have to identify, which is ridiculous. Because if someone told you, Nikki, you're 20% Caucasian, so you're not black, like like someone tries to force what they think onto you, you would probably be irritated. So I don't blame Dominicans for being irritated when we say, oh, you're black because you're 20% black. I'm like, I'm 20% white. Am I white? No. So why are they black because they have 20% African DNA? I don't know why we try to force that into all of them. And then you hear these blanket statements like, oh, Dominicans are black, but not all of them. There's some very white Dominicans that are probably have very little African DNA. So I don't know why we try to put this blanket statement on them and say that they're all black because they're not.
Yeah, and then too, when you look at the goddamn billboards in this
Oh
country,
God.
hello, obvious, because you don't see a lot of brown people on those
No,
billboards. And,
no.
and I've asked my husband, we've had this conversation on this channel before, like, it doesn't bother you that there are not more people that look like you on these? Like, I think it should be more inclusive. And he's just kind of like, I don't care about that shit. And I'm like, okay. Like, I'm not going to argue with you.
It looks crazy to me. They have like billboards with like Europeans on them. And I'm just like, this does not even remotely represent the people in your country. But you go down the street, even in Higuay, where I used to live, like the little boutique stores had white people on the outside on the little posters and stuff. And I'm thinking like, this is crazy. But y'all couldn't come up with any images of people that look remotely close to you. But
And here's the crazy part about that. You're trying to promote something that you want them to buy, but doesn't look like them. Like for me, when I see things that look like me, I get excited because I'm like, oh, like my hair. If I see something that's like, oh, okay, that's like my hair, I want to buy that. I don't want to buy something that doesn't look like something that's going to help me and make me look nice. So oh gosh, it's just sad. It is really, really sad, honestly. But I think now that we're in 2025 and there's so many expats coming over here, I think that the Dominican population is learning um, from us, and I think we're learning from them too. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's always something to be learned from someone.
what do
Like
we learn from them?
you said, what are we learning from them?
Yes, I need to know.
I'm glad you asked. Okay. So for me, I have had so many challenges being here. So I've learned how to deal with challenges, man. Like I've learned how to I'm like the pivot queen. I am the pivot queen. When something goes wrong, I'm like, oh, that's okay, because now we can do it like this. Oh, that doesn't work. Say less. I got this for that. Like when I moved back to my mom's place last year, yay, llegó la luces. Woo, woo, woo. The power came back on. Anyways, so this is so goddamn hot in here. Let me turn this on. But yeah, I was showing my mom different things, and my mom was like, "How did you know to do that?" And I'm like, "Girl, when you in that other country, when things happen, you figure it out." So I'm grateful for
learn
that.
that from a Dominican, or did you come up with it yourself? Because I feel like you are just that way, where you can come up with stuff in a bind. I don't know if they taught it to you. Maybe your environment taught it to you, but I don't know if they taught it to you.
You don't want to give the Dominicans any credit.
No, because listen, I've seen your struggles, and I'm like, girl, you done came up with a whole rig over there to make it through the day. So I don't know if I give them the credit for that, but I think putting you in a different environment has pushed you to your limit where you had to figure out how to survive, and that was you, all you, that figured out how to do it. I don't give them no credit for that.
Man, you're gonna make me cry over here.
No. It's true.
No, because when I say that, I mean I'm saying that because of the fact that when we met, oh my God, I was in despair. Would you use the word despair?
I would use the word raggedy. Raggedy.
Oh yeah, I was raggedy, real raggedy. This goddamn camera is like it's not mirrored. So I'm trying to fix my hair, but it's the opposite. Okay, there we
You
go.
look great, Nikki. Excellente. I'll tell you one thing that I've learned from Dominican society and living in Dominican society and in my dealings with Dominicans on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned patience. And they say patience is a virtue. I've definitely have learned that living here. And that's, because those of us who are familiar with how things move here in the country, it's on a much slower pace. And when you're a mover and shaker and you expect things to be done expeditiously and everything to be expedited and handled in a swift manner and for appointments to be timely, exactly when they say they're going to be, and all of a sudden your world is rocked when you relocate and you're in another society and the mind frame about timeliness. The mentality is not as sharp as it is in the States regarding being on time and the importance of being on time and handling and conducting business swiftly and doing exactly what you say you're going to do and being held accountable for that. So that is lacking here. And because of that, one needs to pack patience. If you're going to reside in the Dominican Republic or have any dealings with Dominicans, pack the patience.
I could not agree with you more. Oh my God, patience. Yes, yes. I have had to learn that over the past 3 years, coming back and forth and back and forth. So I agree with that 100%. Heavenly says, oh, go ahead.
I still feel like those are things you guys taught yourself. You had to teach yourself patience because of the environment you were put in. But like, has a Dominican actually like taught you like how to solve a problem, how to, I don't know, do anything that you didn't have to figure out for yourself just by being down there?
Yes, I can say that. Like I've seen them do things that I was like, oh shit, I didn't know I could do it like that. Like I didn't think about doing it like that because I never had to think about doing it like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I was not in the situation to do that. Like my mom and my sister are always like, whenever I'm with them and something happens and I fix it, and they're like, how did you even know to do that? And I'm like, yeah, girl, over there, this is always like, I got this. So they both were just like, wow, you know? But I do want to read this from Heavenly. Heavenly says, the only thing I learned in DR is drink every day and go to a hotel to shower if the power goes out. That's hilarious. Hola, Michelita. I was speaking to my little friend, Michelita.
That was me.
Yeah, I get it. And then Mindful Vibes is laughing. Mindful Vibes, did you come here from the expat chat? I think they came here from the expat chat. And then Dominican Route Money Team says, I love this. You guys are giving an amazing show. I know that's right.
Who is that? Who's the person? Is it Rico or is it Brother John or who is the?
It's the Dominican. Route Money Team.
Money team. Okay.
So that's, I guess, like an extension of the Dominican Route. Uh,
The accounting department, the fundraising department.
Quite possibly.
Yeah,
Well,
counting department.
tell the brothers we said hello. Greetings.
By the way,
Love.
speaking of which, let me see what's going on with Brother Rico. Because he told me earlier today, let me see what he said. He was like, yeah, I'll be in there if I get home on time. So I'm gonna hit him now and be like, are you there? Are you here? Okay.
He's on Dominican time, girl.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Taught
Hold
me
on.
how to pay the cops. I love that.
Do what?
Look at Heavenly's comment. She said her husband taught her how to pay the cops. That's a
My
good one.
husband taught me how to pay the cops, especially after I cursed them out.
Oh,
Girl,
I'm
we
interested to know
did.
about her relationship. I want to know, is there an age gap and all the good details regarding how they came to be, and I want to know if it fits with a typical scenario.
That's a good question. I would like to know as well.
Maybe she could be a guest one day.
That would be great. Heavenly, would you be willing? Because like we know it's a lot to be out here telling your business.
It
We
is.
know.
You could do it
We know.
incognito, Heavenly, your favorite costume.
Yeah. Yeah, you could totally do that. And I think I might start another channel just to talk. And I'll have my face on here.
How many years has she resided here? I'm curious to know.
Oh, right. Heavenly, are you still living here? That's a good question.
I think earlier in the chat she says that she actually lives here. Mm, I could be wrong.
I think I saw that too.
It's always nice
Uh,
to see who's living here in the flesh.
Same here. Same here. Let me
The
see.
first time I saw my husband pay off a cop, I was shocked. I was like, y'all really do that here? Like that like that's bad in the US. Don't do that up there.
Yeah. I'll tell you the one thing that I would like to learn from a Dominican person, and I hear that the average Dominican knows how to rig their electricity. I would really appreciate that skill. My electric bill is quite high in Punta Cana.
Yeah. I know in our last apartment anyway, my husband could do it if they were to accidentally leave the thing unlocked because each of our apartments had like a little, I don't know, like a little locker with our hookup in there. So only the people from the power company had the key to open it, but every now and then they would forget to lock it or they didn't do it well enough so my husband could open it and then rig our power. So then we'll get power free for a little while till they figure it out.
Till they stop
But
drinking on the job.
exactly.
Ah! Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. So good news. Rico said that he's still out. Give me a few minutes.
Tell Rico Suave we would
American
really
minute.
appreciate his commentary today.
Yeah, because we still have at least 1 hour, which is good. Because you guys remember last time when it came time for us to close down, the whole freaking world was coming in here. And it was just like, Jesus, man. At the same time, Heavenly says, I am 8 years older than my husband. I came onto him at Casa de Campo in La Romana. I
Beautiful.
was living in DR for 5 years.
Wow. All right, Heavenly.
Okay, we like it because my husband fixed my hair. My husband, let's see, my husband is 36 and I am 42. So 7-year difference.
Yeah, that's typical in the Dominican Republic to have an older spouse, and that could go both ways. So, from what I can see,
It definitely can go both ways from what I've seen as well. No doubt about it. Uh, I'm really surprised that none of the Sanky Panky ladies popped in here today. But I also don't know. Can y'all hear that?
I hear something.
barely. It's very muffled.
Yeah.
There's a little boy who has this little baby motoconcho. And he rides up and through and around her all the time. He's so adorable though. He's very nice too. When I see him, he's always like, oh no. So there's that. Heavenly, how did you meet your husband? We're invested at this point. We want to know what is going on.
She said she came on to him. Oh,
Did she?
that's what it said. I came on to him at Casa de Campo.
Oh, hold on.
That's a perfect backdrop. Beautiful backdrop for love.
Which one?
Casa de Campo.
He said
I've never been there. Have you guys been there?
I have. It's beautiful.
Uh-uh.
A lot of money there. Celebrity homes. It's in La Romana. La Romana.
Yes. Yes, I've not been there. I've seen lots of videos, heard lots about it, heard my husband talk about it. He used to work somewhere over there. And I've always wanted to go, but I haven't been. That's like where the rich and famous go and have houses and stuff. Yes.
Oh, well, excuse me. So she met him over there. We need the story, Heavenly.
I want
Okay?
her
If
story.
you don't want to
I
show
wanna
your
hear the
face,
story.
we'll pull you up and just not show your face. But we want to know. That's interesting. All right. While we're waiting on that, let's see our next topic.
So is she and her husband living in the States together now?
Girl, we have questions.
I believe
do
she
have
said she
questions.
still resides in DR. That's what I saw earlier in the chat.
Well, she says I was living in DR, or maybe she meant when she met him. Okay, we need more details because I'm confused.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Okay, so let's see here. I'm getting back to our list where we were on the
Red flags. Red
Red-
flags.
Oh, were there more red flags?
Yeah, we didn't talk about red flags and
Let's get into it.
Stations to have to look for red flags was what we had on our list. We didn't really go through that specifically.
Oh, wait a minute. Heavenly has spoken. My husband is the only Dominican man I know. I met and lost my damn mind. He is so damn handsome.
oh my
We
god.
both locked eyes and I fell in love.
Oh my god.
Girl.
Heavenly. We definitely have to hear this story.
You gotta
This
hear this
romance story.
Heavenly, click
You
the
rocked
link,
your
girl.
world.
We want to hear the story.
You rocked your world
Right.
like a rock star, and you were convinced. Did you move here, Heavenly? Are you amongst us on the island?
Let me see if I can put the link again. I'll put the link again. Click the link, Heavenly. We want to hear this story,
Yes,
girl.
we
She
gotta
said
hear
she
your-
lost her
It's hot
damn
off the
mind.
press.
Everybody loves a good love story, Heavenly.
We
Share.
do.
Do share.
We do love a good love story. My
I'm-
husband and I got married in 2021, and we came to the US together in 2023.
Oh, she's gone.
Oh, we really want to hear the story now. So he
She's
went
here.
with you over there and acted right, it sounds like. I mean, it sounds to me like he went over there and acted
He
right.
handled his business.
He stayed in love and loved her for
Oh,
real, for real. And that's what we like to hear. You know, we don't hear these
wow.
stories very often. We hear like,
Right.
don't, we hear, don't bring your Dominican to the US, which is fucking, it's terrible. Like, let me tell you something. If I gotta marry my husband and I can't trust to bring him to my country, like, what are we talking about? Then I'm not gonna be with him. If I
Right.
can't bring him to my country, why is he my husband?
Right.
Step one, don't be
Crazy.
with a Dominican if you feel like that. Like, you shouldn't even be with one if you feel like that. Now, me, I feel like bringing my husband was the best thing I could have done. Cause now I feel like we're on more equal ground now. With his new job, he almost makes as much as I do with his overtime. So I think bringing him here was the best thing I could have done for our relationship, to be honest.
Absolutely. Financially, girl, you
Mm-hmm.
ain't never lied.
Cause
It
and
definitely is.
think about the financial aspect, but think about everything that comes along with that too. So now, like, there's less resentment because he's making his own money. He doesn't have to ask me for anything. I'm happy he doesn't have to ask. He's happy he doesn't have to ask. He's contributing. So, I mean, it just makes the whole relationship so much better and so much peaceful. And so, if you find one that you think is worth investing in and they want to come to the States, don't have that fear. I think if they really are the person for you, you're going to find out either they're not, or when you bring them to the States, you're going to see them step up and turn into a completely different person. And I think it's going to be better for your relationship overall.
I'm here for it. Heavenly also says the crazy part is we were both married and got divorced. So we could get married. Okay. They got divorced so that they could both get married. He has two children. I have three and a grandchild. Listen, Heavenly, it sounded like you won, girl. We love to hear. We do. Okay. Disclaimer. I think that from our very first episode, there was this energy and there was this idea that we are just like trying to tear down Dominican men and like this whole thing. But no, our whole reason for doing this podcast is because we want to help women to do it the right way. We want to help you guys when you're out there to see like the red flags, like, oh, no, 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 this isn't right. Or, oh, this is okay, this is going well. This, yeah, that sounds about right. We want to help you guys. We're not saying that we hate Dominican people. We're not saying that we hate Dominican men or any of that. My husband is Dominican. African, not Dominican's husband is Dominican. Carmen San Diego was engaged to a Dominican. This is not something where we're like, no, 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 stay away, stay away. What we're saying is be careful, protect yourself, do it the right way. Don't be stupid. Okay, what we're saying is don't be like 90% of the passport bros that just go blindly into these relationships and they see these things happening and do nothing about it and say, oh, but she's beautiful, she's fine, she cooks, she this, she that. We're not saying any of that. And before I bring up oh Krusty, our boy Rico, hey, we're excited. Before we bring him up, Heavenly also says everybody thought I was going through a midlife crisis. What I was going through is self-love, good, and happiness. Yes. I love that for you, Heavenly.
Congratulations, Heavenly.
What I'm hearing is that you were like, I'm not listening to anyone else. I'm listening to myself. I'm feeling through what feels good to me. This
Hmm.
feels right for me and to me. So I'm going to stay right here and do this. I love that for you.
That's
Wow, Heavenly.
awesome.
We want to
Awesome.
have you on. We will. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Look who's coming up. Hey, ladies, driving and listening too. Are y'all ready?
We're ready for Krusty Rico and his pink
Oh,
Cadillac.
shit. There you go. Hey, here I go. Hey, there you go. Good to see you.
Good afternoon, ladies. Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, Rico.
Is it as hot in the DR as it here is here in Maryland? Because it's hot as hell here.
I don't
Mm.
think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, we in having a hell of a heat wave in the U.S. of A. right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we are all around topping off 99 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh my god.
So it's hot as hell. So I'm trying to catch up because, of course, I'm out and about doing a little bit running around, trying to not catch a heat stroke. So catch me up. Where are we at? What? So I don't want to be like really extra dumb because I'm not sure what the conversation is, and I don't want to detour it.
Okay.
I heard
Basically,
just the last couple minutes where you were saying like you guys are not against Dominican men or anything like that.
That's what she said. I am against Dominican men, but
Oh, okay. I don't speak for you. Go ahead.
I'm against them. She's not, but I am. But that we can get to me later.
Okay. Is there a particular reason why you are?
Yes, because I don't think culturally they have the qualities of real men. I don't think most of them I don't think have the work ethic of a real man. I think that they're trained early on to be sexually promiscuous. And so they create broken homes everywhere, several baby mamas. Um, I don't think that they're honest. I don't think that if they date a foreign woman, most of the time, I don't think they have good intentions with us. I just don't. I think that the majority of the time they see us as an opportunity and they're not looking for real love. So, with all that being said, for most foreign women in most situations, I don't think the outcome will be good with them.
Okay. And to be honest with you, I couldn't disagree with anything you said on the outside. I do think it is, how we describe, and for one, I don't think everything that you describe is limited just to Dominican men culturally. I think there are other cultures that still traffic in the same things.
Mm-hmm.
Other so it's not just the DR, but it is in the DR. Um, but I would like to, in a sense of fairness, to say that obviously it's not all of them, and I do think some of it is set up structure. I think the root cause of most of their cultural deficiencies for me come down to just plain old being wildly uneducated.
Oh yeah.
The population as a whole, whether anybody wants, it's not saying all Dominicans are uneducated. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying like their overall, like I read in an article in Diario Libre where like 70% of the teachers fail their competency almost every year. So you have the uneducated further educating the wider population. So they know what they know, but what they know, I can tell you, isn't much. Now, the rest of the population is very educated. But when we're talking about education, you have to talk about the collective and you can't talk about the individual. Like I know some Dominican geniuses, but that is one of a million.
Exactly.
The next 999,000. I mean, 80% of them. It's like I wouldn't trust with anything sharper than a butter knife. And it's not that they can't learn; they're just so poorly educated because the DR, like a lot of countries, just don't invest. They don't make an investment in their public. They're not
Exactly.
trying to feel like they say we need a well-educated public, and that trickles into culture. So, like we were talking earlier, like about that. I don't know if you ladies know about the famous baseball player that just I can't believe got 2 years probation for sleeping with a child. That's a cultural aspect, but it's also born out of horrible fucking education. If they knew about the trauma that would inflict, you would ask yourself, why would they sit there and want to leave the young ladies of their population so vulnerable to older men and their sexual debauchery. And that's them doing it to their own fucking people. And they see nothing wrong with it. It's I'm like, you have to be an uneducated population to culturally accept that shit in 2025. And again, like I said, that's in the Middle East, it's in certain countries in Africa. And I'm like, and the common denominator in all those places is shitty education.
I agree. It's lack of education that's causing a lot of these issues to happen. They just don't know. Even with the collapse of jet set,
Hmm.
I think a lot of that had to do with just lack of education regarding, engineering and building structures, and the fact that support columns just can't randomly be moved. They're there for a
Hmm.
reason to support the weight of the upper levels of the building, and they need to be in place to evenly distribute the weight. And so I do think a lot of their problems are stemming from lack of education. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that.
And that's the thing is, and I don't the sad part about it, based on all the things you said, is I don't see them in the near term nor long term future making any sort of massive investment in educating the population.
No.
That's
So
the tragedy.
yeah, if the education doesn't improve, the culture, I personally think, again, there are some positives I like about Dominican culture. Most of it I would throw in the garbage. That's
Exactly.
just my opinion. Culturally, not a person, just the shit that they do. It's like, I'm like, it's fucking insane. It just is. But I'm like, okay, they don't know any better, but fuck that. I'm not doing that. Like, I mean, we look at things culturally, like massively, everybody steals electricity. Like, where the fuck else do they? I mean, wait, I'm not making it up.
No,
The
you're not.
government, the
It's
government,
happening here where I live, and I'm like,
yeah. The government actually estimates like 30 to 40% of the electricity that's generated in the country is not paid for. I'm like, this shit is crazy. And
yo,
everybody knows it.
that's insane. Listen, when you're talking about the education and all of that, I always take it back to the old days, right? Where like these women were barefoot and pregnant, right? So like for them, they're like, well, this is what I got to deal with because I'm pregnant and I don't have education and he knows more than I know. And it's like, it is 2025. There is so much information out there that you guys don't have to do this. You guys don't have to be this way. Like I had a conversation with my sister-in-law yesterday because she's a stay-at-home mom. She has 3 kids, and her youngest, my niece, I think she's like 4 or 5 months old at this point. But she gets it, and it makes me happy because I don't have to like try to explain to her these things. But I think so much of it has to do with, well, I don't have it, so I got to depend on this man to give it to me.
I mean, that's true, but I mean, some of the things to me is like, I'm just like, it's it. I look so if I compare, and then, but see, and then this is some of the things I don't like about the culture, because we all know, okay, the DR is not, a wealthy country. It's a developing country. But then, like I said, my wife's from El Salvador. Their country is no more wealthier than the DR. But they don't do half the fucked up shit that they do in the DR.
I
They
didn't
just
know that.
don't.
I did
So
not know that.
yeah, so even culturally, you can come from the same levels of poverty, limited education, but your behavior can be wildly different. Like they do have, I'm not gonna say that they don't have some instances of older people with younger women, but nowhere near to the level that I see in the DR. Nowhere near. I'm like, they got poor women there. They are not run over with chicas or prostitutes. The DR is fucking flooded with them everywhere. So, and I'm like, these women, they're poor, they're walking up and down the fucking mountain, they're selling the cheap pupusas and this and that, whatever. They do have sex workers in the country. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the level that we see things in the DR You can compare it to Jamaica. You can compare it to, there are other Caribbean islands that's not much more well off than the DR. Matter of fact, the DR is probably, granted that the money is filtered to a small percentage of people that's exploiting the fuck out the rest of them. But still, these other countries are not, for GDP, are not any better off than the Dominican Republic. But the behaviors, even if the outcomes, they don't have any more but I don't see it run over with, like I said, the sex trade in the DR is out of this fucking world.
Absolutely.
But I don't see it in other poor countries. Like I said, they have prostitution in Jamaica. They have it in Bahamas. They have it in all of it. But they don't have it like you see in the DR. So it's like, what makes poor people behave? Because there are poor people, probably the same percentage of poor people in all these countries. I know it's poverty, but all these places have poverty. Why the hell are they doing this, and these other people who may be doing it, they do it in a much smaller number? I just like it. It defies me. So I'm like, when they talk about the culture, I'm like, shit like that. Are you crazy? It's insane. The body modifications out of this fucking world.
Oh yeah.
It's like, why? What is being fed? I really believe a lot of it is it part. It's a lot of it comes. I will say some of it is, which they should have the history to know. They can trace it right back to Trujillo, the dictator that they had, right?
Yeah.
He did a fucking number on them. But I'm like, y'all know he did the shit to y'all. Why don't you break this stupid shit? It's not like you don't know he did a number on the country with trying to whiten the country, and he made the country take a nationalistic idea. When the first thing I tell him all the time, I'm like, stop calling yourself a nationalist. That is a bad thing. Oh no, Rico, ain't nothing wrong with being a nationalist. I'm like, you stupid motherfucker, it is. Call yourself a patriot, not a nationalist.
Right.
You do not want to run behind the banner of that, but they are. That's what they do. Because, and I'm like, once again, because you fucking uneducated, you don't know what nationalism is. So when somebody else label you as a nationalist, you think it's a positive term when it's a negative term. It's not positive. So that feeds right back into the lack of education, and it's the same thing if you sit there and tell a Dominican, hey, look, y'all are racist. No, we're not racist like the USA. I'm like, because y'all don't know what fucking racism is. That's why you don't recognize it, because you're too fucking stupid to know what it is. So stop defending the shit and educate yourself on what it is. And they just won't. They won't educate themselves around racism. They won't educate themselves around, feminism or how to treat. I'm like, y'all fuck over your women, your children. All is because you refuse to educate yourself on it. And Lord knows if somebody that's not Dominican tell you automatic, I'm not listening to that shit no matter what. It could save your dumb ass life. They will reject the information. That's the problem. I'm like, you hurt yourself because you reject the information because it doesn't come from somebody wearing a fucking Dominican flag. And I'm like, I don't know what y'all wearing that flag for, because the government don't give a fuck about you in the first place.
Oh,
y'all defending the government that you won't feed your ass. You got people in Santo Domingo living by the fucking river drinking and bathing in that shit under that fucking bridge. And I'm like, they'll be the most nationalist fucking people there is. I'm like, what is wrong with y'all? This government don't care anything about you. So I'm like, don't hate it. But I mean, I don't hate America. Hell will freeze over before you ever see an American flag at my house. And I served in the military, and my son is active duty.
Well, I'm
like, I don't hate it, but I'm not. Yeah. I'm not dumb, because as much as I enjoy being an American, I know it's done a lot of fucked up shit. So if somebody tell me it's done some fucked up shit, I'm not gonna argue it. It's true.
Right.
Yeah. But I could go on and on and on, but it's just that the If you can't see, and I said, let me correct myself. I'm not saying they're dumb, they're uneducated. And for a lot of them, they don't want to be educated. If you gave a Dominican man or woman a choice between you got a year's worth of college or a new fucking cell phone,
Yeah.
10 out of 11 out of 10 gonna pick that phone.
Exactly.
That's true. That is very true.
You
Oh,
Instant gratification.
and I'm not even talking about financial literacy. If you gave one $1,000 and said you got to have half of it next week, 9 out of 10 won't have half of it next week. They don't think about tomorrow.
No.
They do everything in the present and just figure, okay, well, he gave me $100 that they will spend every motherfucking dollar, borrow another 20, and figure out what they're gonna do tomorrow.
Exactly.
And then be crying and begging. I'm like, man, fuck this shit. That's part of their culture. It's
It
not
is.
every Dominican, but writ large, we know generally most of them do that. So what's great about the culture? The culture going broke day every day. They go broke every day. I understand you don't make a lot, but literally, you only made $20 today. You can't save five of the shit. That's just impossible. You made $20. You gonna spend $30 worth of shit, and you only gonna make $20 a month. So now you're down to 10. I refuse. I'm like, I refuse. You telling me y'all can't count now? It just doesn't make sense.
And see, that's the bad thing is they'll bring you down with them because then all of a sudden they have access to your money. They can't hold their own money. So what do you think they're going to do with yours? Your money's going to be
oh,
gone as soon as
yikes.
they have access to it. So you're going to be broke, which is why I'm like, no, don't even risk it because you can find a unicorn, sure. But are you going to be able to survive until you find that unicorn financially?
That's
Wow.
true. And I mean, and I would say, just to be fair, I'm like, you have the percentage that are educated, smart, well with finances, and because they are so self-sufficient, then but they're still, Dominicans still, they love everything Dominican. So good luck trying to get that. But obviously, most people end up with somebody probably more in a position of need because they're more, I wouldn't say open-minded. Based on their need, they're more willing to try. But then the key is, and I don't tell anybody not to do it. It's like you really have to find somebody that has a mind that's open enough to say, I'm willing to listen and learn. And I just don't see a lot of that with them. I've seen
Yeah.
some, but it's like you got to find somebody that's hungry to say, I want to learn more stuff. I want to learn more. Like a guy that you're going to see, like, okay, you're constantly in there trying to take some financial literature. Like you see him always on the laptop trying to learn and better their mind. If they're trying to do that, there's a possibility. But most of them, they just want the next moto, the next car, clothes. If they're all into that fashionista shit, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Even the men, they peacock like little fucking peacocks too, with them old tight white fucking pants and shit. So when they get into that, that speaks to where their mind is. I'm like, he always into fashion and clothes. He ain't satisfied with a pair of blue jeans and a t-shirt. He got to have them fancy ass shiny shoes. He got to have a fresh haircut. He preening around trying to be prettier than y'all.
What did
That's
we
that.
say earlier? They're
Ooh.
princesses. We said that earlier.
Yeah, I'm just saying. You got to watch out. That not only speaks, that vanity speaks to a thought process too. And then part of that thought process is just like the women. If I look good, everybody's going to want me and do for me.
Hmm.
That's what they do. It's the same. It's the same like with the women with the BBLs. They invest in only the aesthetics. They ain't investing in no fucking education. They're not trying to intellectually improve themselves. They just trying to make themselves look pretty. And as men, it's like, yeah, you look pretty. You can. Let's see what you can do on your back. That's it. There's no substance there. These men are doing the same shit. They're all trying to be the butt, and I'm like, and it's fine to sit there and want to look good, but I'm like, what good is it if you, yeah, you look good, but you dumb as hell.
Mhm.
Right.
That's
Oh
that's
man.
that's very much the female side of it, and I'm pretty sure it's the same thing on the men. Because most of the men, most people who are really invested in intellectually trying to improve themselves. Yes, nobody's going to make themselves look like a slob, but their appearance is not going to be something that they think about every waking day of the morning. And you'll see that man or woman. I tell the guys too. I say what you'll see a woman that's invested in her intellect. She most of the time she's natural. She ain't all made up and all that stuff. You see them with that makeup and all the time to the nines and that glam shit. Ain't nothing in there. Nothing in there.
That is so true. There's not any type of intellectual conversation with that type of a woman. Um, you said a lot, Rico.
I mean, and I'm a heathen, but don't even get me started. Like, you want to test the motherfucker? Ask them something religious. Ask them anything religious. They don't know. That's why when people are like,
Yeah.
oh, it's a God fear. I'm like, them motherfuckers ain't no more God fearing than me.
Well, this is what they'll say. They'll say, "Si Dios quiere,
Right, but
si Dios quiere," if
right,
God wants, and that's it. That's all
that's
the
it.
religion you're gonna get, bro. If
That's the
God wants it to
end of
happen,
it.
it's gonna happen.
Yes, that's the end of it. They have no other religious substance to them. I know I don't have. I'm like, this motherfucker heathen like me. Get out of my face.
They
Absolutely.
are heathens.
Yeah, Lord willing, that's it. They have, and I'm saying it as a person who doesn't have. So I'm like, just so if you don't have any intellectual substance to bring to the table, and then you don't even have any type of faith. Like, okay, you uneducated, but maybe they got a strong, good faith. I can trust that. They really do believe in the Lord because they practice it. Maybe, but they don't have that.
Mm-mm.
So what are you gonna root it? I can't root it in your intelligence, and I can't anchor into your intelligence because that ain't there. I can't anchor in your faith because that ain't there. There's nothing in you for me to anchor into.
There you have
I just I that's just my so I'm like me personally, fuck their culture. So I'm
Exactly.
not saying the people, but I'm saying specifically the culture. So even me and my wife coming, I'm saying, oh, you gotta adopt the culture. I wish the fuck I would. I wish I thought about it. I'm not adopting any. I ain't got fuck a bachata, fuck a presidente. I ain't gotta do a goddamn thing in the DR but follow the fucking law. That's it.
Exactly.
That's it.
And with that all being said, the culture cultivates the people.
Yes.
So even if you don't want to say Dominicans are bad people, with them coming from a bad dysfunctional culture, I don't see myself. I don't feel right about advising anyone to take a chance with any of them, because you're going 99% of the time it's not going to be a good outcome, and the 1% that are educated usually stick with their own.
Yes.
So I don't see the point in trying to put these hopes in women's head. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody to do it or don't do it. I'm definitely not going to recommend to do it, but I wouldn't discourage you from doing it. I would just say that even if you even choose that you want to take that path, the biggest fault I see for expats is, again, and it does revolve around culture, is that for whatever reason we feel the need to uh, acquiesce to their culture, especially in their country. And I'm like, no, you do not have to do that. You absolutely do not have to do that, because in that, even in a relationship, part of the problem is we throw out, if you say, okay, which culture is better? Let's just take it.
better,
Me
better.
personally, I think my culture is 10 times better than theirs. So why would I go down to the lesser culture? There are some good things about it that's better than American culture, but most of it I do not think is better than the American culture. Like I said, they just let a fucking man that was fucking a 14-year-old get off with 2 years probation. No, my culture, we throw his ass under the jail.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
just a fucking fact. And the whole country knows it. So no, I'm not going down in culture. I'll lift your ass up. You have to rise to be better. I'm not about to be worse. That's what we used to do in America. We used to let grown ass men sleep with children. We got better because we realized how messed up and how wrong it was. We realized the trauma that we inflict on these young girls. We realized that. There's still some, like I said, in the Middle East, they still fucking them little girls up. There are countries in Africa where they're still fucking those little girls up. But we're better. So, no, I'm not going to go down in culture. I just won't do it. I just say that about that one thing, but there are many other things. There are many other things about it. So, if the for me the drawback is when we do get into these intercultural relationships, we decide, okay, we're gonna go down to their culture. Well, I gotta fit in here. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't have to. It's like the connection is between you and that other person. Now, if they insist on it, then hey, I guess it just won't work. Because I'm not, I would no more give up my culture than I would give up my faith if I had one. You know what I'm saying? But people have interreligious relationships. You don't see, I'm a Muslim and a Jew get married together. Neither one of them give up their faith.
Exactly.
They do it. So I'm like, why do we? I always hear people like, why the hell do they always think we got to give up our culture and adopt theirs? That's crazy.
They don't do it when they come to our country. They will fly their own
No,
flags. They will
no.
celebrate their own holidays. They will still
They
continue to cook their own
yes,
food.
yes,
They still have national
yes,
pride. Like they're still
yes,
patriotic to their home
yes.
countries. And we don't force them to
Nope.
assimilate when they
They
come to the United States.
they got people living in America for 20, 30 years. Don't even speak fucking English.
Exactly.
Don't speak English. Every city has a little Italy, little Greek town. Every city has a fucking Chinatown. They in New York today doing the Dominican Day festival taste shit. I'm like, they always do it
Hmm.
everywhere. When let me know when there's the USA Day in the DR. Please let me
Exactly.
know so I can come to that parade. They would lose their
Exactly.
shit. I even to the point where I said, then tell them, I'm like, I don't even feel comfortable flying an American flag at my house. Like what? To let them know this is the house to come and rob?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm like, it just, but we can't do it. And I'm like, I take exception to that. That literally they would tell you, well, you don't like it. I'm not. I tell them all the time. They were like, well, that's my country. And I'm like, what do you own? They be like, nothing. I say, shit, it's more mine than yours. You
There
talking
you
about
have
my
it.
country and you don't own shit.
Hold on one second, guys. I do want to I want to say hello to my brother, Ruben. Get in here and say some things. And actually, I'm gonna put the link so you can hop in here. My brother Ruben, he is Dominican, married to a beautiful, gorgeous black woman, American woman. Would love to have you on, Ruben. Are you willing to hop in here? Let's get you in here, buddy. I'm sorry. Go ahead, you
No,
guys.
that's okay. But it's just that from that concept, again, it's like you said and said, it's they and like I said, this is ain't Dominican. This is Dominican, Chinatown, Little Italy, Greek town. Every fucking country, when they come to the US, they get to hold on and embrace and
Mhm.
even further enrich their culture every day. And I welcome it. I'm like, hey, do whatever you want. The only thing you gotta do in the US is follow the fucking law.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
all you got to do in the U.S. is follow the law. You don't have to do anything else but follow the law. So when I come to that motherfucker, that's it. Because when the
Yeah.
man that was trying to sell shit to me, he asked for my fucking money. He wanted my money. And they tell me all the time, man. And the funny thing about it is, very well to do Dominicans like the my builder. He tell me all the time, like, don't fuck them. So even when they always talk about class, and it's weird because I always hear this argument about, oh, Rico, it's not racism, it's class. I'm like, why are poor people always championing class? You in the fucking bottom. So why do you even think classism is a good thing? Because the wealthy Dominicans are shitting on you anyway. And I said, it's not classism. It is racism. And it was like, no, you can't say it. I said, it's bullshit. I said, because if I go into a restaurant and all the people in that restaurant have the same socio-economic, all of them come from the same background. The waitresses, the cooks, the motherfuckers that's mopping the floor. They all come from the same socio-economic class in the DR. Why are all the black ones in the back cleaning the bathrooms?
Exactly.
If racism has nothing to do, why all the light skin and white adjacent looking motherfuckers to the front? If it has nothing, because all these people here working in these restaurants come from the same socioeconomic class. But
That's right.
you can go through and it just almost never failed. And I'm like, that's too much to be a fucking coincidence. So when everybody's in the same class, why does the separation? I said, because subconsciously, you guys can't even see it. You can't see it. Subconsciously, it's so embedded. You guys think that's all we see. You never see it. And if I call it out, oh, absolutely. You go colorblind. Like, motherfucker, you see color. You see it just like I see it.
Exactly.
But
Wow.
they just want it, that is just the truth. And I just refuse to go there and then all of a sudden, because that's what I hear expats. I'm like, wait a minute. If that's racism in the US, why it ain't racism in the DR? Because you in the DR now? Because now you in the DR, you don't see the shit no more. I'm like, that's bullshit.
That's right.
Yeah, because you would
So
call it out in the US. I'm not saying I go around confronting it. I don't. I'm like, hey, as long as they don't fucking discriminate against me, I don't care. But I'm not gonna say it. That's not what it is.
Mhm.
That's the insult. The insult is it's not my job to fix it. It's the job of the people who live there to fix it. But if they ask me, no, that's fucking racism. Fuck this shit. I'm not going to give them cover by saying, well, nah, that's only racism in the US. Fuck no. If it's racism in one place, it's racism everywhere. There's no such thing as US racism. Racism is racism and it's across the fucking board.
Well, I mean, or colorism, right?
Colorism, racism, classism, all of them. It's the same definition in all three places. But they'll tell you that's their deflection. That's the US. We don't see it. They're like, that's bullshit. It's the same fucking way here. You just don't acknowledge it. And even they've even had Dominican sociologists that said the same thing. And they all point back to Trujillo fucked us up. I'm like, okay, so say y'all got fucked up by Trujillo. He did.
No, yeah, that's true. That is
He
true.
did.
Yeah, that goddamn Trujillo. Oh my God.
He literally did a campaign to whiten the country.
Well, here's the deal. When it comes to the Trujillo conversation, it kind of parallels to me, you guys, like the first time that Trump came around and everyone was like, oh, the economy, the economy. From my understanding, that's what Trujillo was for the economy.
Yes.
Like, and that's like, okay, the country was doing better economically because of Trujillo. But it's kind of the same thing with Trump. Like, okay, initially, his first 4 years, that made sense economically. But when it came to racism and like all that other stuff, that's where it stopped making sense.
No, but see, here's
You
the
guys
thing, though.
understand when I
No,
say
but
that?
the thing is this, Nikki. He was racist his first 4 years. He's racist this time. You can be good for the economy and still be a goddamn racist. They're not mutually exclusive.
Absolutely.
Trujillo was great for the country. but he was a flaming fucking racist. You can be, I'm good for this, I'm good for that, and still, and to the point where Dominicans darker than you will deny their blackness. And I'd be
Absolutely.
like, yeah, I'd be like, do you have a fucking mirror?
Okay.
They just don't, because he told them he wasn't black. So when they see their black asses, they not black. He just did a psychological number on the mentality, especially of the poor and widely uneducated. It's easy. It's easy to fool an uneducated motherfucker because they don't know nothing.
Very true.
It's easy. I
Let
can
me
convince you that you Asian if you uneducated enough. You will start to believe that shit.
yes.
It
Let
can
me
be
read this.
done.
Let me read this comment. Mindful Vibe says the amount of Dominicans who want to initiate a conversation about race and then get mad when I give them a balanced perspective of my experience is wild. Absolutely. That I think we all can agree that we've had that same experience. And then our buddy Carl says social construct, black and white. He followed the American blueprint on racism. Absolutely. My brother Ruben says, I love this as a Dominican. It's good to see people talking about different cultures. Ruben, hop back in here. I sent you the link. You guys, Ruben is my brother, not by blood, but that's my bro. He's a Dominican married to a black, beautiful American woman. He was one of my good friends as well. So, Ruben, we'd love you to hop in here again when you can.
But you
Go,
know what,
go ahead.
Nikki? I wanted to point this out because I don't know the guy Ruben. I hope he does hop on. And I'm assuming he's from the U.S., right?
He's not. So
He's from the DR.
He's from the DR.
Okay.
And let me quick story about how I met Ruben. I was at Boca Chica, and at the time I was engaged to the guy that you told me was a piece of
Right.
SHIT and that was going to do me wrong, and like, you know, the guy that you were correct about, right? So I was with that guy, and when I met Ruben, he was selling tours on the beach. And he said to me, like, oh, yeah, I got my beautiful black woman, I got my American woman, da da da. And I made a joke to him, and I was like, oh, okay, so you psyche punky, and okay, I see you chapeador, you know, and I started laughing, and he was pissed. He was like, hell no, I love that woman. Like, I for real love her. And I said, oh, let me see a picture. So he showed me, you know, pictures of them together, showing who she was. And I was like, oh, she's gorgeous. She's like, yeah, you guys look like brother and sister. So I was like, maybe he loves her for real. But then when I met her in person and saw how they are, and not only that, to know that he paid for his paperwork with her, or like he paid for his paperwork. She didn't pay for his paperwork. This is why I want him to hop on the conversation so he can speak for himself. He paid the $585, $600, whatever it is. Like, he has never thanked her. Like, in fact, my husband and I have been to his their anniversary dinner. My husband and I didn't pay for anything. We didn't know that before we got there. We didn't have to buy our own dinner. It was paid for. So Ruben is definitely that, like, what do we call that? The little one-off or whatever. But yeah, his English is great. He's the unicorn. He's amazing. I've known him now for 3 years. An amazing human and smart. Yeah.
I was just wondering in particular because I know I've always said that traditionally, like I always say, a Dominican from DR and a Dominican from the US, those are two different people. Their culture, and that's the thing we have to be mindful of, is that you can meet a person of a nationality in the US, they are almost nothing like the people of the nationality in the country. I mean, it is almost a night and day difference, and most of them will even tell you that. But Ruben can't because he's, a Dominican. But like a New York Dominican, a lot of them will tell you, "Oh hell nah." So even when we're talking about culture, I'm like, they don't. adhere to the, especially after being in the U.S. or Europe for a number of years. They will even tell you that, and there are even some Dominicans that are not happy and proud of a lot of the shit that goes on within their culture. They
That's true.
just have to, accept it because it's their country, but they don't like it. Especially, I know some that are very upset about the thing that happened with little girls and things like that, but it's still widely accepted. So I tell people like this: a Mexican American and a Mexican, they're not the same. They're
No,
different.
no,
They're,
yes,
they're just
totally.
totally different. Their, culture. I'm like, they speak Spanish. That's about the end of it.
Yeah,
It it just is. So you can't, the culture aspect, it's different. I just think that, even I would say even people come from Canada, Europe, you know, like if I went to a country that I felt like if I went to Japan, I would be more likely to accept their culture over mine because I
right.
think they have not everything, but I think their culture is more driven around politeness. Certain Asian cultures are better than American culture, but the
That is
DR ain't one
very
of them.
true. There
Yeah,
is a lot of politeness that goes on in their culture. That is
very, very
so true.
polite, very respectful, quiet. They're very educated population. All these things, um, which much better than the U.S. So I would absolutely. I mean, they got a little shit, with them, but nowhere near as much as we do. But the
On a
reverse,
different level, yeah.
yeah, the reverse is the other way. I wouldn't adopt Mexican culture. There's things about all of these countries that I like, but when you talk about the culture as a whole, no, I wouldn't. My wife's country, fuck no, I wouldn't adopt El Salvadorian culture. There are parts of it that I like, but nah, I have to elevate, and that's what you should want to do. So even when you meet your spouse, your loved one, if you're not seeking to elevate them, then what are you doing?
Right.
You should. And I'm just sorry, just unless I'm crazy, I'm like culturally, I like to know I like some people said today, like family. I was like, I don't believe they're more family oriented than we are. I think that's a thing that we romanticize and we project. The same way they'll sit there and tell you all day long that Dominican women are more feminine than American women or black women. I call bullshit on that. They're not. If they are, I would say it's to a degree that's so small that it's almost insignificant.
But it's
It's not
also to
like
a degree that's purposely overly doing it to say, this is why you should choose me. It's
right.
very much a choose me um, energy behind that, if
Yeah,
you guys understand what I'm saying.
but it's dictated, which I always tell, like the same way I tell the guys. I'm like, their femininity and their submissiveness is dictated by their overall society because let's face it, women are more second class. It just fucking is. You can argue it all you want. I say, and because in a lot of these Latin American countries, to include El Salvador, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, so on and so forth, women are either unemployed or they're underemployed. So their survival is dictated oftentimes on the support of a man. That would make you, I'm like, man, if it was reversed and instead of us living in a patriarchy, we lived in a matriarchy, most of y'all would be bitches on y'all knees.
That's right.
You
Yeah,
just
man.
would.
Listen, and that's the thing that I try. When I first got married to my husband, we would have these types of conversations about like certain things that needed to be done in the household. And I'm looking at him and I'm saying, sir, you think that because I'm sitting at a computer all day that I'm not working hard. That's not the case. You know what I mean? The good thing is I've learned a rhythm and a pattern to be able to wash clothes and clean this and do that while I'm working. But before that, I'm like, sir, you have no idea. But he did see him. He sat and watched me one day, partially while I was working. And he was like, oh, I thought it was different. I thought you could just like get up at any time. And I'm like, no, if I'm on the phone with a client, I can't just hop up. So
Yeah.
it's very
Yeah.
much, Go
But it's,
ahead.
it's the same thing, like I said, and then the argument is always again how they try to count, because like I said, they utilize all the you don't understand, Rico, the dating troubles in America, that's why we go overseas. And I'm like, yeah, but tell me what's the issue. Well, like black women, they the only one that say that they don't need a man. I'm like, because they don't. Why is that upsetting you that they don't need you? And you're like, don't nobody else say. I said, let me tell you something. It ain't just the black ones. The white ones say it too. They just say
Yes.
it with their actions. The Asian ones do too. So in America, because women in America don't need a man, because as a society, meaning all of us, motherfucker, we decided we didn't want women to be dependent on men for their survival. That's all we did as a whole collective society. We said we want everybody, men and women, black and white, to have an equal chance of survivability in the society. We didn't want women out on the street, homeless and hungry, because a man wouldn't fucking, pay their bills. They would be able to sustain and support themselves. If they can sustain and support themselves, they don't fucking need you. What's so difficult about that? The better
Here's
the better part of it in a relationship, you don't want the person to need you. You want them to want you. It's that simple.
you took the words right out of my mouth. And I know that either Carmen San Diego or African, not Dominican, was going to hop in here and say something about that. Let me say this. Rico, you hit the nail on the head. My husband and I literally had that conversation yesterday, and we've had the conversation a couple of times. And I said to him, I don't need you. And you know that. Like, I am with you because I love you and I want to be with you. And at the end of the day, you're not with me because you need me either. You can go back to living at that cheap life that you had, and you will be all right doing that. I already know that. It happens all the time. Women come here, men come here dating Dominicans, and it doesn't work out. And more times than not, the men are just like, well, F it, I'll go find another woman who will pay for my things, bloppy, bloppy, blue, and that's that. But like you said, people need to be honest. These men need to be honest with themselves and say, there's something within me. There's a problem that I feel like I need to be with someone who needs me.
Right.
That's a problem. Anyone should ever want to be with a person who wants to be with them, not someone who needs, because this is how people are being unalived all the time, because they're with people who they need to be with, not because they want to be with them.
Right.
And Carmen, were you the one about to speak on this, or was that African, not Dominican? Because I heard one of you guys wanted to chime in real quick.
I think that was African, not Dominican. And I wasn't going to say anything regarding that.
So real quick, I do want to mention African, not Dominican's name. And correct me if I'm wrong, African, not Dominican. I think she came up with that name because, wait, African, not Dominican, do you want to say how you came up with the name? I don't want to just say something and speak for you. But okay, great. Go ahead.
It was a play off of African Dominican, because I think it's so silly. Like her whole character is silly to me. And I think that she's obsessed with Dominicans. So I don't know, she has some kind of identity crisis, because even though she talks a lot of shit about Dominicans, she seems to be obsessed with them and their culture, and she wants, I think, secretly to be them. So I just made a play off her name. I am Black, I am African, I am not Dominican, and I'm proud of that. So that's where my name came from. I don't have an identity crisis.
I would say, if I may interject, what's kind of sad about the situation, though, is that you guys' names are kind of doing the opposite thing. If your name were African Dominican and people saw you, they'd be like, oh, she's Dominican, clearly, because of how you look Dominican, right? We've already discovered that. And that's not to whatever. But African, not Dominican, I feel like that really should be her name.
But here's
It's obvious that she's not Dominican. But okay, sorry, that was an a-hole thing to say. Continue.
Listen, here's the thing that I always say. I don't think I look Dominican. I think they look like me. I am Black. I am African. I am the original woman. So if we look alike, it's because they got characteristics from me, not the other way around. I think that's when people get it confused. Like, I am Black. I claim to be Black. I'm proud to be Black. They're not Black, but they look like me. Okay.
Yeah. Great fucking point. Great point. Great point. Great. Look, I just wanted to finish up that part about the need thing was, for me, and the reason why I emphasize the want is like you said, Nikki, with you and your husband, same thing with me and my wife. It's like, no, it's not like, I need her. It's not like if she left my life, I would die. It's not that I need her to live. I want her to live. I want
Amen.
her in my life. I don't
Yeah,
want her gone. I would miss her presence. If she was
absolutely.
not in my life, I would feel a loss. I wouldn't die.
No,
You know what I'm saying? I would not be
not
able to
like the
function.
not like the bachata songs. The bachata songs sing about I'm gonna die without my partner.
Right.
We had that conversation. It's like, come on.
So right. So I don't my wife don't need me. Even if she said that shit, I would know she don't need me. I like you said, black women, motherfucker, was they existing before you came into their life? Yes. Then they don't need you.
That's right.
Unless you resurrected them from nothing, unless you breathed life into them, they
Yeah,
don't need you.
absolutely.
If a person existed fully functioning, they don't need you. So you shouldn't be so fucking butthurt by that statement. Now you take that simply because these Dominican women don't need your ass either. They just didn't bother to say it, and for some reason, they're magical. They magical because they didn't tell you what you already fucking know. They don't need your funky ass.
That's right.
Nobody needs you. Nobody needs a human being doesn't need. You want that in your life, but need to survive, to live, to even thrive. It's not necessary. We only need ourselves. But life is better, it's more fulfilling when you have a partner. So
Yes.
you
Yeah, that's
can't
true.
go, well, this group told me what they didn't need to tell me because it's just common sense that I know that. But because this group didn't tell me they're magical and beautiful and they're more this and they're more that. No, they're not. They're the same. One person decided to tell your dumb ass and the other person didn't. But at the end of the day, the end result is the same. It's the
Absolutely.
same. So it just the whole thing about it, and I think that that's where we get caught up because then we'll fetishize a different culture, and then I'll say this on their end. I see where we say it so much and do it so much, and maybe even with the Saints, these motherfuckers believe it. They believe that shit don't stink.
Oh my God, right.
And that's out of the fact that we reinforced this bullshit in the first. The only person that can tell a Dominican woman her shit stink is a Dominican man. The only person that can tell a Dominican man that his shit stink is a Dominican woman. Because foreigners have spent I don't know how many decades kissing their motherfucking asses. That's the problem. I'm like, stop kissing their asses.
Absolutely.
Their shit stink like everybody else's. So when they say this shit about the family, I'm like, no, that's not true. I know plenty of Dominican people got big families. They don't do nothing for them. They really don't.
Making families.
Right.
You want to take care of them.
Right.
They're good at making babies. That's pretty
So,
good.
so they say so when you hear all of these catchphrases that people say, it's like stop making them unreal. I look at everything in the lens of like, okay, so what's different about that than me or us or where I come from? Because they always, one thing I hate the most is they always seem like everybody in the world in particular. First of all, the world globally is anti-black. We can just start with that. Okay. Black is
Absolutely.
at the bottom everywhere in the fucking world, including the DR. Black is at the bottom. Then, in addition to it, for some reason, Black Americans got like the worst stereotypes painted on us because they'll say like Black Caribbeans, black Africans, like they don't have shit too. But their stereotypes aren't quite as bad as ours because I think ours, which the things that they say about us is true, it's just amplified to make
Yeah.
us look worse than anybody else
Well,
when we're not.
I'll say this. I do think that prior to Black Americans being the worst, I think Haitians are even worse
Yes.
on this list of how they, you know what I mean, characterize Black people. Unfortunately,
Unless you ask a Haitian, he'll say it's your black ass.
oh, I've never known
Which is
that
even
conversation.
crazy because I've
I've
had
never had that
Haitians sit there
conversation.
and look down their nose. I'm like, motherfucker, you from Haiti. How can you look down your nose at me? And I'm not looking down my nose at you. That's weird. But it's like, all right, whatever. Because that's why, and I only say because our blemishes, which every community has them, the Hispanic community, the Asian community, they all have the same blemishes, but ours get broadcast and amplified on 100. So other communities, they have the same thing with levels of drug abuse, single motherhood, domestic violence. India has a rape culture in the country of India. Yeah, India has a rape culture in India. It's
I didn't know
never
that.
talked about.
Yikes.
No, this is not. This shit is information that's easy to find out. I mean, little girls be getting fucking raped on the bus going to school by gangs of fucking Indian men, and they don't even get punished for it.
Oh my God.
I'm not making this shit up.
Yeah, it's true. They actually gang rape women in
Yes,
India.
all the time. That shit's like Tuesday. Who we gonna gang rape today? And no one, and you see what I'm saying? They don't talk about that. They don't talk about that. And I mean, they do some horrific shit to these little girls. We barely hear about it.
See,
But
but
them,
isn't that the difference? Is that we glorify our
yes, others.
dysfunction? Like in the
Well,
United States, we make music about our dysfunction.
yes,
We glorify whole culture. We
yes.
glorify gang violence and murder and robbery and drug use. Like we glorify all this stuff. So we are responsible for our own image, and we
Well,
don't make a good version of ourselves public.
I would counter before I would use the word glorify. I think so. You got to realize, okay, so like rap music and all that around this, the birth of it was, around this, because that's what we all gonna say. Because there was even some worse shit before that in rock and roll and even back in the jazz. But really, we're probably talking about rap, gangster rap, and that's like started around the birth of it in the 70s and 80s. But a lot of that was, yes, we glorified it, but it was basically young men speaking to what was going on in their neighborhood. But as much as we say, I'll tell you this, as much as you say we glorify, go look at what's going on in India right now. Rap.
But they're not. Are they putting it in music? Are they broadcasting it for the world to see?
But
Are
I
they?
don't. I know that they're rapping like shit. I don't think it just ain't that good, and I don't know what they're saying because I don't speak Indian. But they are rapping. They're mimicking that very genre of music, which we all, and I agree with it, as it's painted us in a bad light, is the most celebrated art form in the world, to include in the DR.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's all the fuck they do is rap. So I'm like, I see I agree with what you're saying, but then I'm struggling because I'm like, they're rapping in Africa, they're rapping in France. I don't know what the fuck they saying. They could be calling their women hoes and bitches and guns and whatever. Matter of fact, they got a English group. I'm gonna tell y'all the name of it in a minute. Old 80-year-old guys rapping like Pete Bass, I think is the name of them.
Yeah, that's
Fire.
it.
I've seen those two old
They're
guys,
fire.
two old
Yes.
white
Yeah.
guys.
They
They're
talking
doing their
about
thing. They're
shooting
doing
in
their thing.
holes and shit, and they in their fucking 80s.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, is that every other culture has positive imagery to go along with it. I feel like Black culture,
Right.
Black people, we don't get enough positive imagery. So
Right.
the majority of what we are putting out there is all the negative stuff, and we don't have enough positive imagery to counteract it. I think that's the
I
problem.
agree.
Because
Okay.
everyone knows that the white trash people exist, But they're going to make sure that good images of white people are also out there to counteract that. They're not going to make the trailer trash white people their main imagery. So I think that's the difference, is we don't have enough positive imagery of ourselves out there.
Well, here's the thing. I'll say we know white trash exists. I'm not gonna say everybody because, like, like I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, I'm telling you, I was just blown away because, like, right now in the U.S., the whole huge, big, massive shit about the mass deportation of the illegal immigrants, undocumented, whatever you choose to call them, right? And that's a very big thing that's going on in the U.S. and like all throughout social media. TikTok, YouTube, whatever. All the talk is because obviously when the thing kicked off in LA, there was, because ICE went down and decided they was going to raid a bunch of fucking Home Depots, this, that, whatever. So we knew what demographic they were going after. And they started all the rioting. But after a couple of days, it started coming out where people were saying, we're the black protesters. And now it sparked a conversation in the US, which is still valid today, was about a lot of the anti-blackness within the Hispanic community. And all of a sudden, all these black content creators said, we tired. We tired. You say, you want us to protest. We protested November 5th when we told y'all not to vote this motherfucker in. But yet, Donald Trump won the presidency because of Latino voters. So when he decided to turn around and do this mass protest, y'all wanted this, right? So what I'm getting to is all through all this, it started this conversation about, has there ever really been black and brown unity? And it brings it into question.
No.
But exactly, right? So exactly. But what's funny about it is yeah, it's all about this anti-blackness, no black and brown unity. And the funny part was somewhere, I don't know who sparked this in the conversation. They started saying, okay, black people, if y'all don't start protesting black Americans, y'all next. And somewhere in the conversation, somebody came up and said, the guy said, you know why they keep saying we next? I think it was a Hispanic guy. I'm not sure who it was. It was like, why? I said, because they think y'all are immigrants. And people were like, what? Yeah, they think black Americans are immigrants. Like we can be deported.
I heard about that.
Yes.
And that found the hell out of them. Like,
that's the shit that's going on. So when the reason why I say that is, again, I'm going back to the uneducated argument. Right. So you have all of these Hispanic people from all these different multinationalities, Salvadorian, Nicaraguan, Mexican, whatever. I'm like, you motherfuckers thought we were immigrants? And you thought we was gonna be the ones that was gonna get deported. No, the fuck we ain't. We can't be deported. And it is hilarious because, again, it's two things it speaks to: what we think people know and they don't know, and the lack of black and brown. And I'm the most pro-immigrant motherfucker on the planet. But when they did that shit, me and my wife said, hey, we done. We sitting this one out. And she's Salvadorian. Like, I can't fight you over what I look like fighting you and you punching me in the face for you wanted this shit. All right, have at it. I don't want you deported, but I'm not going to, I'm going to get tear gas trying to stop it.
Oh, hell no.
And y'all voted for it. But it did bring up the very thing, and I'd say, I can tell you that that's true. There has never been a ton of black and brown unity. They just crying that shit right now because they need black help. And black folks say, nah, we sitting this one out.
I did a video on my TikTok about the lady who did the song I Would Vote for Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I did that. Ass. Oh man, yeah. And the thing of what was happening with the whole Cuban community, not the whole part, because I know that not all Cubans think that way, but there's part of the Cuban community that was saying like, oh no, we're different. Yep. we're not like those Browns. Yep. We're our own people. And it's like, huh? No, you're still Latino, you're still Hispanic, which I know that's kind of a thing too between Hispanic and Latino. Regardless, please know that these other people from Spanish speaking countries are looking at you guys in the same way that you guys are like us. Like we came here too, just like you guys came here. But the bottom line is that, now her goddamn husband was expedited on the list to be deported. And it's like womp womp,
Yeah,
like it's correct. I don't understand how people had like gotten this sense of security that, oh, we're going to be safe,
because
they're
they
going to
fucking
take care of
racist.
us. Yes, it is the craziest thing. And then also quickly, guys, we're going to end this live in about 5 to 10 minutes. I'm starving. I've got to eat some food. And more than anything, we are so happy to have you, Rico. You are the fave on in the YouTube streets. Any way you look at it, you're the fave. There are people who, I guess, claim to hate you. I don't know. It's kind of weird to me.
They entitled, and I do my
I
best to give them good reason to. I personally don't give a fuck, but you know what I'm saying.
here's the deal.
Mhm.
When I met you, I was so angry at you, and it was because what you said was, it was true. You remember that? It
I
was
don't know.
true.
I just always try to tell the truth, and I'm like, it's, if I say something wrong, I want to be checked. I want to be checked in real time. I don't care if it's publicly. I want to be corrected. Um, but I try to always tell the truth the best way that I see it. Doesn't mean I'm always right. I could be wrong, but again, I'm just not into that blowing smoke up people's tails because I don't like it blowed up mine. And most of the time, I just say, come back. I'm like, hey, I'm waiting on you to correct me. I'm waiting
Absolutely.
on it. I want to be. I want to be. I want to know where I'm wrong. And it's just I'm not. I just don't. I question everything. I think we should. I think everything I said, like I said, everything I said about India. Go check. Is it a rape culture? Go check. Don't take
I,
my word for it.
I think
Check.
Carmen San Diego was in agreement with you on that. When you said that, immediately she was like, "Oh yes, 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 that
Yeah,
is the thing.
and
That
that's
is
It
true."
is.
yeah, and I think it's better because we all should know from our own individual independent sources and our own independent research, and we can sit there and we can come to a better place. I don't say that because I gain nothing out of making the Indian culture. I'm just saying I use that because that's a when they talk about model minorities, and they always, oh, the most educated and people that make the most money in the U.S. are Indians. I'm like, yeah, but they come from a culture of rape and racism, that caste system that they have. So let's not like they're
Oh yeah,
all
the
fucking
caste system.
brilliant
Oh
and
my
genius,
god.
right? Like there's no fucked up shit over there. It's like they're shitting. They got shit running up and down the street because they
That's
can't
not what
figure
they're
out.
known for.
Right.
But why are we known for all our bad shit? I think it's our fault because I think it's
Well,
our
mm,
responsibility to control our own narrative. We can't expect white people to do it for us. We can't
correct.
expect Latinos to do it for us. We have
Correct.
to take that power. So if our image is fucked up, it's our fault. Period.
Okay. I just come from the point of stop romanticizing other cultures
Oh,
because you
Right.
absolutely.
don't know enough about them to romanticize them.
Yeah. And even
Because
if
if
you
you go a
did,
little, yeah, I always say if you go a little bit further, oh, you're gonna see a lot of horrific shit.
yeah, I agree with that. And
That's it. I just say look at other cultures equal to your own until you're proven different. Again, like I said, the only one I can think of off the top of my head right now that's a little bit better is Japanese, and I know they got the fucking yakuza, they got gangsters too, but overall, their culture is more polite, friendly, agreeable. So just at that level. But Japan also did some of the worst atrocities in history during World War II. So knowing the history, I'm like, oh, they took 500,000 Korean women and turned them into whores called them comfort women. And the Japanese soldiers were raping them repeatedly. And they didn't ever get to go back to Korea and never see what I'm saying? If you read a little bit more, like, okay, shit, I didn't know they did all that. Okay. They're nice now. They was a piece of shit back then. All of these places, so you don't romanticize, and certainly would never sit there and go, oh, black women, black American women ain't shit because all these people are a million times better. Bullshit.
Okay,
I just want to
so
say, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
ma'am.
I was just going to say really quickly that the romanticism is steeped in self-hate. That's what it boils down to.
It's steeped in what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that part.
It's steeped in self-hate.
Okay. And white
Self-hate.
supremacy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that you know, we've been speaking about the passport brother movement, and I think they romanticize the women the way they do and don't look at their blemishes. And we're going to speak specifically on Dominican Republic, since that seems to be the subject. Dominican women most of the time regarding the romanticism with these passport brothers. They are romanticizing about the women because they secretly hate themselves, and they project that hate, and somehow it's been twisted into a romanticized love for Dominican women and other women other than women who look like themselves.
I
Very
agree.
true. Absolutely.
No doubt about it. Really quick, I'm gonna go ahead and read a couple of these comments. Let's see, I'm gonna go back here. Heavenly says, Nikki, my husband and I are Trump supporters. And of course I wrote, Heavenly, what the helly? And then we have another viewer, Key Pena says, Heavenly, me too. And then Mindful Vibe says, are we going to act like Black people are responsible for media portrayal due to popular culture? Have you heard the lyrics from reggaeton, dembow, etc.? Great point. Yes, the lyrics are absolutely nasty and the
Are
same
they?
as rap music. You said are they?
Yeah, because I don't listen to it. That's
Oh,
why
let me.
that's why
Oh,
I say
honey.
even when I say with the Indian rap and all the others, like I know they have a very big rap culture. I don't listen to it, and then I don't know the language,
Let me
so
tell you.
they could be. I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you. Listen to me. When I started learning, let me put the comment back up. When I very first started learning Spanish, there were so many things that I didn't know. So one day I was at work, which is where I started to learn Spanish at a Sprint store, and I was listening to a song called La Papola. I did not know that La Papola means the woman's part. And so the song says suave que le
In
something
English,
me
in
duele.
English.
No, I gotta think about the words
Oh,
in
okay.
Spanish so I can tell you first. Suave que me duele la popola. So basically, it's like, give it to me, give it to me soft, and my part hurts when you're giving it to me, right? I didn't know that, so I'm at work playing the music, and I had a customer right in front of me laughing, and I'm like, what? And they're like, do you know what you're listening to? And I was like, no, I just know it sounds good.
Right.
So that's, to your point, the music here is very much about the ass and the cooch and all the things. Trust me when I tell you. But we'll get to that in just a second. I just want to make sure that I'm getting to the comments
Okay.
so people are recognized. So yes, Mindful Vibes, you're absolutely correct on that. Heavenly says, Nikki, I would love to join your next live. I am taking care of my granddaughter and cooking. Heavenly, I'll send you the link so you can hop in on the live stream. Key Pena says, yes, Black people are responsible for their own image. I would agree with her on that. Mindful Vibe says self-hatred indeed. Absolutely. It continues to happen. I'm letting Heavenly know she's invited. Key Pena says, who else idolizes Dominican culture besides Black people? Ding, ding, ding. You ain't ever lied. She's right about that. Mindful vibes. If you are aware of many positive portrayals of Black folk and choose to base your idea on the media, that's a choice. Okay, that's a great point. And as I always say, Paul Mooney said it best. Everybody want to be a nigga, but don't nobody want to be a nigga. He said it best, and that still rings true. Pina says, "I'm aware of them, but that's not what we're known for." I know that's right.
But
Mindful
then,
Vibe says, according to who?
I would have to ask myself, why is the worst part of our image and culture the most copied? Because if we're talking about rap music, that is the number one genre of music worldwide.
The
I
rap,
mean,
right?
worldwide, right? I'm not talking about America. I'm talking about globally. You don't know. I don't. I am unaware of any other genre of music that's played on a global scale the same as rap.
That's true. That's very
I
much
just
true.
don't know. I saw. I absolutely agree, but it's like, are we? Because I don't know if we could. If I don't know if we as Black people could have on, certainly not on our own, projected our music globally the way it's been projected. So it's been projected globally with the help of white people. Of course, they're making money off the shit, but and the number one consumers of rap music in the U.S. are white kids.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah,
even
yeah.
Black kids. We don't
You
even
know,
buy the shit.
it's that whole thing about what's taboo, right? We always want that little taste of something that we shouldn't be trying to have a taste of, or however you want to put it. But guys, it is 5:31. I am starving, and I just would like for us to say our last piece and then get out of here.
Let me go.
Rico,
Yes.
we need to have you back on the next one. We are only going to be doing this once a month. I will reach out to you and let you know when that is, because we absolutely, ladies, speak in on this. I think we absolutely want Rico in here.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, we
With
want
some
that.
more advanced notice next time.
Okay, you ain't lying.
Yeah,
You are
okay,
absolutely
right.
correct.
She just told me today, and I'm like, oh Jesus. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was
unless
really
you just
surprised.
planned it today, I'd
I
appreciate
didn't.
some advance notice,
Okay, I will let you
so
know.
I can, yeah, work my schedule around and stuff like that in order to be able to do it.
I will let you know a week in advance, and I'll also let you know what the topics are.
Yeah,
We love you out here on these YouTube streets, and are so happy that you came. All right.
always. Thank you. I'm gonna let you
Thank
ladies go.
you.
Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Wait. What's
Uh huh.
your piece? Leave your piece first, and then
Oh,
I'll let
I
the
just
other
think.
two ladies have their
Well,
piece.
I mean, just for me, the last thing I would say is it was a great topic, great conversation. I'm sorry if I tended to let it bounce all over the place, but sometimes those are the best conversations, just more organic. They flow into whatever different things that they flow into. Um, I just say that I think the main part of it for me was the culture. Um, I always try to start with a culture of self, meaning like even before I have a even before I try to project or practice a Black culture, I create a culture of Rico, who I am, what
I love
I
that.
do, how
I
I
love that.
am. And then within that, I'm a part of the Black culture. So it starts with me because I ain't doing every fucking thing that Black people do either. I ain't with all that fuck shit. So, the parts of Black culture that I love and I embrace, I love and I embrace. The parts that I don't fuck with, I don't fuck with. So, and then I carry that over to any other cultures that I come into contact. So I think everybody, you need to start rooting yourself and develop a culture of self, integrity, quality, and just things about. It's not like a bougie snobbiness. It's just like this is the type of person that I want to be, that I can count on, and how I expect to show up all the time, everywhere I go, as the same person, not somebody Sunday, somebody else Monday. And if you do that, I think all the rest of it will fall into place. And when you come into another culture that doesn't align with culture of self, you'll know, fuck this. This is not for me. I'm out of here. And that's my best piece of advice. Everybody start with a culture of self, grow into your culture of your race or ethnicity or nationality, and then grow from there.
I absolutely love it. We are excited to have you back, Rico, and I can't thank you enough for showing up for me today. And I'll just say this, and it's not nice what I'm going to say, but I appreciate you showing up on behalf of how we know each other. That part of how we know each other has not shown up for me lately, and it's disheartening and it's effed up, but it is what it is. And I also know why that part hasn't shown up, whatever. But I appreciate you being here.
Always, always, Nikki. Like I said, give me notice.
Absolutely.
Okay? All right, thank you. Well,
Have
I
a
may
good
not
night.
show up if I keep
Oh,
getting on no damn notice. So, ladies, if I don't show up next time, she be like, say, Nikki must ain't giving fucking notice. Be
no,
like, exactly.
they're gonna be on me and be like,
I
girl,
will
you
You
said
got
it
remind
was
her.
next week.
yeah.
Rico, I can remind her. I
Okay,
know I
please.
know that a Virgo hates last minute same day notices. We don't do that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
both of
will
them love
I
your
will remind her.
commentary. They're not gonna let me do that.
No,
Yeah.
just give me notice. I'll show up every opportunity I get. All right. And you guys, if I
Okay.
don't see you, enjoy your fourth. Anybody that's American.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Well,
All right.
American Silly, have a good
Bye.
one. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Who wants to go next for their takedown?
I'll go. I'll volunteer. I'll keep it short and sweet. It's been a pleasure, as always, being part of the live. Thank you for inviting me and having me here to comment on these various topics that affect us all and give individuals the opportunity to learn from one another. I want to say good night and let love rule. Until next time.
Amen. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.
Well, it was another good conversation. I'm really glad that Rico came and joined us again. He always knows how to spice things up and get the conversation lively. I just want to say that I agree with all of Rico's points. That we do romanticize Dominican culture. We put them on a pedestal, and I think that's our downfall because that causes us to lose judgment. I think that we if we put more effort into elevating ourselves and not elevating other people in their society and their cultures, we would get a lot further. So I stick to my point that we are responsible for our own imagery. We are responsible for our own representation, but we don't focus on ourselves. We're too busy in everyone else's mix and everyone else's drama. Like, I know I'm glad to see all the Black people saying, look, and we're not getting involved with Latino problems. That ain't got nothing to do with us, because we need to focus on ourselves. We have our own problems.
That's right.
But we don't stick together long enough to do that. And so I think that's why we got our men going overseas, trying to get foreign box, because they don't see the value in their own women, in their own culture. And that's a shame. So until we start putting priority on ourselves, that's not going to change. And I think that's the difference between us and everyone else, is that everyone else prioritizes their own people first.
Yeah.
And we just don't do that within our culture. And I think that's our problem. And I don't like to play in the victim Olympics. I think that there's a lot of things that we need to fix in house and not blame others. But I'm excited for the next chat. I'm excited for the next call. I can't wait to see what we're going to talk about next. Because, I always have an opinion. I always got something to say.
And I love it.
It was nice to have Rico fill in, because he always gets me thinking, for sure.
All of us. Yeah. I'm just forever grateful for Rico, hopping in and doing that, because I feel like there are some people from the Dominican Route channel that have not wanted to participate for whatever reason. And so I appreciate that he has still been willing to participate with us. So yeah,
Rico's a real one. He's a real one.
he is. He is. He's his own man, which I love that. I love that for him. I love that for our group as well. You know. All
All
right.
right, Nikki. Well, I will see you next time. Let me know when we're doing this again. I'll be here.
We're going to do it once a month for now. And I'm sure it'll pick up at some point. But for now, I think once a month really works well for all of us because we have so much going on. But yeah, for now, I think once a month is doing really well. And I feel like next time we're gonna pick it up. I know that we are because we got up to, I think, 11 or 12 viewers today. So imagine the next time. It's all going to continue to come together. I feel very confident about that.
Yeah, it will.
Yep. Okay, well, I'm going to take you down now and we'll see you next time, girl.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys, all 9 of you that are in here right now, thank you so much for joining us today. I think we had a great conversation. Again, anybody who has met me and known me from the Dominican Route channel, I'm forever grateful for you guys coming over to this channel and continuing to follow me. Like I always tell you guys, never let anyone's opinion of you change your opinion of you. We are everything that we want to be. We can do whatever we want to do. And like I'm African, not Dominican, and also Rico spoke about, we have to continue to focus on our community. In order for us to do better and be better, we have to focus on us and stop giving accolades and all the praises to other groups. We're all special. We're all great in our own separate ways. So thank you guys for being here. I love you guys. Have a great night. Take care. Mwah.